many others, have Tiger King fever after watching the new Netflix documentary. However, after watching, I realized I didn't even focus on the most important aspect of the show. Those of you that watched the show, was there ever a moment that you stopped and thought about the tigers? After realizing just how overlooked these animals were, I decided to do some research on the negative aspects of keeping animals in captivity. After researching, I believe that zoos and aquariums should be held to higher standards for the safety of these animals. In this speech, I will talk about why zoos and aquariums should be reevaluated and why they aren't taking the necessary steps to help and take care of these animals. Now, first off, what was the original intent behind zoos and what have they now become? Well, zoos were used to study animals and for educational purposes, but now they're just another business venture. Ethnobiology and Conservation wrote an article about how in the 1890s a new panorama was developed. It placed animals of different species in the same setting, just put some plants and soil and artificial rocks in the habitat, and it made the visitors feel more comfortable because it looked like the animals were in their natural setting. This is a picture of a rhino in Brookfield Zoo, Illinois. This is exactly the type of panorama that was developed in the 1890s, making it look like the animal was in its habitat when it wasn't. There's a statement in the article. One should not leave aside the thought that a better zoo is for its animals, the more attractive it is for its visitors. Even in this, the emphasis is being placed on the revenue and visitor attraction rather than the health and safety of these animals. The monetary aspects of zoos and aquariums seem to be more important than the educational value. The same article from Ethnobiology and Conservation says that one of the most challenging things for a zoo is trying to turn a moment of leisure into a more educational experience. Most visitors come just to have fun. The article also states that even though the visitors are coming for leisure time, that the type of education these zoos offer should be reevaluated as it is based on the exploitation of these animals. Although it may seem that this issue is overlooked, there is a way to make the issue of animal captivity relevant again. First, simply draw attention to the problem until action is taken. The Journal of Sustainable Tourism stated that the recent protests in Australia showed just how unethical it was to keep marine animals in captivity. In 2015, SeaWorld Australia faced reported controversy in the media and social media for keeping animals in captivity, and by 2018, protesters were actually coming into the park and stopping performances. In 2015, a Shutdown SeaWorld petition was created, gaining 15,000 signatures through social media. After that, the news picked it up, making it gain even more attention and traction. The next thing you can do in the fight for animal rights, call for legislative action. According to Emily Jenks, a Michigan State law staff writer, because of protesting, drawing attention to, or calling to action, the 8th Circuit recently decided to reinterpret the Endangered Species Act to prohibit the confinement or captivity of all ESA-protected species from any conditions that cause them psychological or physical harm. This is a group of animal activists from Maryland in 2018 advocating for international conservation funding on Capitol Hill. She states that the regulations and standards that are in place for exhibited animals fall very short for them to have any sort of quality lives. She says that in order to fix this, you can do 3 things. Either reform the existing laws, alter the regulations already in place, or create entirely new laws or regulations for these animals. What we really have to think about is, by advocating for these animals, it's not just benefiting them, but also us. Number 1, if the regulations and standards for zoo animals are upped, they are legally required to receive better care. Number 2, things like senseless killings after the animal gets too old to profit off of won't happen because they won't be allowed to. The second thing that will happen if better standards and regulations are put into place is that the original intent of zoos to educate will be put back in the forefront. The article on the research topic, The Science and Practice of Captive Animal Welfare, states that if visitors see that the animals are being treated well and taken care of, they are also more likely to want to help the animals, for instance, in conservation efforts. The article also states that conservation education could stay with the visitors and create a very huge emotional impact. This is a picture from the Oregon Zoo, where they have a program where teenagers can teach groups of children about animals and conservation. In conclusion, I believe it is necessary that we take a closer look at the way zoos and aquariums are being run and what is their actual goal, to educate or to earn profit. In my speech, I have discussed what zoos and aquariums have become in a capitalistic society, what you can do to change that, and what happens if higher regulations are put into place. There are many ways you can change the way zoos and aquariums are being operated. Do research, protest, talk to your legislatures, talk to the zoo. Since the animals don't have a voice, let's be one for them.